Very good afternoon and welcome to the European Championships on the final day. 2 championships to be decided, and as you can see there, these the finalists for the men's 105 kilo championship, 231 pounds, 16.5 stone, and a chance to meet the competitors in person. Twice third in the European Championships, representing Lithuania, Ramūnas Vyšniauskas, weighing in at 104.57 kilos. European champion last year in Strasbourg was this man from Slovakia, Martin Tesovic. Jörg Mazur representing Germany, 7th in Europe a year ago. And here is the Olympic champion, Dmitry Berestov for Russia. Poland represented by Arkadiusz Bielek, weighed in exactly on the limit, 105 kilos, weighed in just 2 hours ago. The second of the 2 Lithuanians, this is Modestas Simkus, and he's had quite a fluctuating career in terms of weight categories. Robert Dowenga, 4th in the European Championships in 2006, somewhat eclipsed by his brother, who is the Snatch world record holder in this weight category. For Turkey, Bunyami Sudas. Sudas, 2nd in the world way back in 2001 in Antalya on Turkish soil. Artur Babanyan for Armenia, 104.2 kilos his body weight, just 2 hours ago when he weighed in, and that's one of the lighter men in the competition. And Oleksiy Torekty, the junior world silver medalist 2 seasons ago. So this 105 kilo category, here are the past champions and some pretty famous names. And there you can see 2001 Yevgeny Shigishev, who you'll be seeing a little later, hopefully, if you're with us in the super heavyweights. And I promise you that is worth waiting for, because everybody who should be in that competition is here in Lignano Sabbiadoro. Snatch record held by Marcin Dowenga, the brother of Robert Dowenga, who's in this competition, and almost set to go. David Morgan alongside myself, David Goldstrom, so sit back and enjoy the action with both of us.
The next competition, 160 kilograms on the bar.
So the final day of these 2008 European Championships here in Italy, just 100 meters from the sea on what is a nice sunny warming day outside, and a filling auditorium here in the Palazzo dello Sport. And the first of the 2 Lithuanians, Modestas Simkus, 22 years of age, and coming down from the super heavyweight class into this 105 kilo class.
Yes, 160 kilos on the bar, 350 pounds. And the opening weight, this men's 105. Well, he pulled it very high, caught it almost in a power snatch, and then let it go.
What's interesting about him, David, you might have some thoughts on this. Take you back a little bit. Back in he's only 22, so he's come through the junior and the youth ranks. 1999, he was in the 46 kilo class. Then naturally moved up in 2000 to 50. Under 56 in 2001. And then, didn't see much of him, but in 2006, he was a super heavyweight.
So what did he weigh in 2001?
In 2001, he was under 50 kilo, under 56 kilos. And 5 years later, he's in the super heavyweight class, and now he's come back down to 105.
Tesovic there just warming up with 70 kilos.
Noticeable that there are 1 or 2 other Lithuanians who are beginning to emerge, but I guess all you can say, David, is that he hasn't really necessarily found where he should be. Here he is, Modestas Simkus. I mean, he's last in competition in the super heavyweights in 2006 in Santo Domingo. He was outside the top 20 total up 345 and snatched 153. Kenyan jerked 192 for that 345 total.
Well, he's posted here at 380.
Yeah, absolutely. And just looking at the B group, who actually competed last night, shouldn't be anybody to trouble these men. Libor Walca of the Czech Republic totaled up 353, and that was just about the best performance overall from the B group, because he's posted 380, which means he must achieve 360 or he would be disqualified.
That's better. That's comfortable. So just a bit shaky, really. Nerves, I think. Wasted attempt.
Yeah. I don't think he yet has, you know, found his form, his confidence. We don't know much about him either, you know, so he's into the unknown. Interesting to see what happens over the next couple of seasons with him. Bar just nudged up to 161. Let's have a look at the opening kilos. What about the Olympic champion, Berestov? Very good Olympic champion, David, in Athens.
That's right. I mean, he's posted down to start 190 and 220, and if he's in that kind of form, I think he's going to be a very, very hard man to beat today. And the Russians have been pretty good, haven't they? You know, in general, I mean, all being coached by David Rigger, they seem to be doing pretty well at the moment.
Well, just having a look at if you go back to 2004, when we had the European Championship, so that was sort of on the eve of Athens when he went on to get the gold medal. He did 190, 227.5 for 417.5, and then the Olympic Games went 195, 230, 425. And actually, in the Olympic Games, lifted 5 out of 6, which is obviously one major reason why he ended up with the gold medal.
Well, his openers would suggest that he's in that kind of form today.
Well, just thinking that he's actually, you know, he's got the same sort of plan in his mind. It worked in Athens. Now let's see if it'll work, the build-up, in exactly the same manner for Beijing.
Got a nice little open there for Babian.
Yeah, Babian from Armenia. He was also out in Thailand last year for the World Championships up in Chiang Mai. But he doesn't have the highest percentage of lifting. He's only got 2 lifts in Thailand. I've got a 170 and a 205 to give him 375. So I suppose you could say, in a sense, opening up on a good weight that he knows he can get the first one in on. Try and build from there. The bar's gone to 170 now for Bielek of Poland. Arkadiusz Bielek. ...26 years of age. Moved up a couple of years ago, 2006. So he's been in this weight category now, 2006, 2007. So this is his 3rd season as a 105 lifter. So you would think he should be just beginning to get to grips with it.
Yeah, very much the second, well, actually 3rd stringer, really, isn't he, in this class for Poland? Because, of course, you've got the Wenga brothers.
Yeah. But Bielek, good start. This was exactly the way a first lift should be achieved, in fact. Good, fast, explosive and precise.
So I'm just looking at the board now, and it says Sudas of Turkey, and this man is well, he normally opens on 185, so the Turks yet again way down. And what's been interesting is that they're not just coming in at very, very light weights, they're actually failing them on many occasions. So the Turkish team having real problems across the board.
Well, let's face it, David, they had there were a number of anti-doping infringements. They were taken off the platform, not to the same extent that the Greeks. Ultimately, if the B samples for the 11 Greeks proved to be positive, then
Well, as I said, he's not only coming in at 15 kilos less than he normally would, but he's actually missing it.
What I was going to say is that their punishment wasn't quite severe as probably the one for the Greek Federation is going to be, and rightly so, but we have to wait for those B samples to tell us whether the first results that gave us
just look weak. The whole team just looks weak.
Yeah, but just picking up on the subject I'm trying to talk about, which is the anti-doping, they didn't suffer to the same degree which I think the Greeks are, and yet, you know, the whole team is, as you said, right down, and Mr. Hassan, the president, having to rebuild the whole of the federation. So Oloxti, junior world silver medalist, junior European silver medalist a couple of seasons ago.
When you say they're not being punished as much, I mean the punishment hasn't really been decided yet, has it?
No,
Greeks actually,
you're missing the point. What I'm saying is that the point that I'm saying is, if you take back, the Turks had a number of people who were disqualified, but they weren't taken out of weightlifting for the extended period that the Greeks are probably going to be taken out if those B samples are proven to be positive in due course.
Oh, right.
And yet, 2 years. And yet, even with the punishments they did suffer, and rightly so, as you rightly pointed out, they are struggling to come back to anything like the form that they showed before.
Oh, yeah.
Which, no. And I think the reality is, David, that over the next couple of years, as this generation retires, it's the new generation that really is going to be the one that.
So when you talk about the punishment of the Greeks, are you suggesting that they're going to ban them for more than 2 years then?
I don't know what the punishment would be, but you know, I mean, to have that number of people, if it's confirmed, to have that number of people, I mean, it's a very serious federation situation. The International Weightlifting Federation, ultimately the governing body, they will decide together with WADA what should happen. But you know that in addition to the 2 years, which is the normal mandatory ban, but you know the International Weightlifting Federation, you know, one's looking. There are plenty of discussions now about a 4-year ban.
Problem is, though, you know, do they ban those 11 athletes that were caught for 4 years, or do they ban all of Greek weightlifting? Because there's hundreds of weightlifters in Greece that weren't tested, who were also. Are you suggesting that they're going to be punished as well?
No, you can't. I mean, human rights and law will tell you that you simply can't. You know, somebody who has not been found guilty of any crime can't be punished. I mean, that's the point. But if the system is found to have been involved in other words, if the whole, you know, if everybody sort of conspired for this to happen, then what may happen is that their whole administration and management system, as well as their coaches, will have to change. But that's for others to decide. But the punishment must be hard, it must be firm, not only for them, but to send a message to anybody else.
Yeah, I suppose it's complicated though, isn't it? You know, to try and actually give the right punishment, but also to be fair to the other people, you know, the other lifters in the country, or the other athletes in the country.
Yes, I'm sure it will be fair.
So Lithuanian taking a big jump, but not coming off, so he stays on 160.
And Sudas onto the stage now, and he's had 2 failures at 170. Well, Tanazar failed to total.
It's a familiar story.
And then Hakan Yilmaz last night
to total. Yeah.
3 big names, 3 very familiar names, and now Bunyamin Sudas facing the same situation.
Well, they've only actually had 1 winner from the women's, haven't they? Thailand is the only one that really managed to pull it off.
Yeah, that wasn't wholly convincing. And There you go.
So not only did he start with 15 kilos less than he, in fact I think he's done 190, so not only did he start with 20 kilos less than his best ever, but he failed it 3 times.
Well, he's certainly done 185 on plenty of occasions, but when we talk about those sorts of weights, David, we're talking about 2002, 2003, you know, 5 years ago. So, Babian, the bar on 171 kilos. Now, this is a 6 kilo increase. Of course, we're up in the heavy end of all the weight classes, but nonetheless, 6 kilos. This will be a personal best in competition. May well have done this a million times in the gym, but it's different on the competition stage.
Well, the Armenians have been doing very well in this competition. Apparently, they've got some major sponsorship from a guy who owns all of the petrol stations in Armenia. He doesn't sort of he doesn't want anything for it. He doesn't want the name of his petrol stations on their leotards or their tracksuits. He's just happy to give money, and apparently he sponsors them all. And he's said that any of them that win an Olympic gold medal will be given $500,000.
Euros.
Sorry, euros. Yeah.
Euros.
Which is, you know, a massive amount of money for. I mean, that's it. That's them made for life in Armenia.
Well, it is a big sum of money. Apparently owns supermarkets as well as petrol stations, but I mean, it was noticeable a few years ago, and funnily enough, it wasn't the lifting that particularly caught my eye, it was the tracksuits. That was the first thing. Yeah, they suddenly turned up. I remember in Vladislavovo, which was 2006, and they suddenly had these very smart tracksuits and everything else.
Well, apparently he sponsors lots of sports. It's not just, he doesn't just focus on weightlifting, no. He's helping a lot of other sports as well.
So, Babian, 171 kilos. Third and final attempt. Better. Good recovery. Nice to see. And that is a new personal best. So on paper at least he's not going to really feature in the fight for the major medals, but if you can come out on stage with a new target and ultimately, yeah, you can see he's happy, he's succeeded
and did it well. Did the job well.
Little move forward. And onto the stage comes Jörg Mazur. And I noticed Frank Mantek for Germany today, no suit, no tie. He's into the team gear.
Oh yeah, he was in the warm-up room giving this guy a pep talk. So it's business today.
Frank, of course, excited as we are also about the appearance of Matthias Steiner, their new super heavyweight challenger.
.173 and a good opener. So the Germans really starting to come through now. They posted 171, moved to 173, and made it look really, really easy.
Home for him is Lyman, and he's got a personal best of actually 180. But you're right, David. What you're seeing in the German team now, after some fallow years and work quietly done at home, is you're seeing with the likes of young Julia Rode, contenders coming through, a new generation, and with it, building confidence. So
the Wenger.
Yeah,
I think that's the right. It is actually spelled De Liga, but pronounced De Wenger.
Yeah, De Wenger.
De Wenger.
Yeah,
De Wenger.
Don't ask me to explain it. Polish family names are very difficult to fathom.
So 175.
Now this should be, as it's his first attempt, pretty comfortable. certainly in terms of weight, didn't have any problems there. But of course, at the moment, David, he's in the shadow of his younger brother, Marcin, who won the European title in 2006 on the Polish stage in Władysławowo, just down the coast from Gdansk. And he's the world record holder at 199. And not only did he win the European Championship in 2006, he also added the world title. As far as Robert's concerned, well, he was fourth in 2006, both at the European and world competitions. So here's the junior, just 21 years of age. Third and final attempt, and that takes him to a new mark. That's 10 kilos up on anything he's ever done before on a competition stage. So obviously a Ukrainian moving forward. And at the right age to look forward to weightlifting in the Olympic Games of 2012. Arkadiusz Bielek. Again, 6 kilo increase. He stayed down a long time, but got the job done. 176 takes him into the lead ahead of Robert Dowenga, his Polish teammate. He weighed in, of course, right on the 105 kilo mark. Robert Dowenga at 104.25 in snatch silver at the moment. The Ukrainian Oleksiy Torokity in third place, Jörg Mazur in fourth, but he still has 2 attempts left. But the defending champion, Martin Tesevich, yet to begin. Ramūnas Vyšniauskas of Lithuania also to take his first lift, and the Olympic champion, Dmitry Beresov, who, I think, did he post 190?
190.
190. So, Dowenga, 177, the minimum 2 kilo increase here, but good enough to put him back on the top of the table. Settling as we come down to 15 seconds. Well, he pretty well needed all of that 4-meter platform.
Yeah, well saved.
It's interesting, isn't it, when you look at it, David? His brother, Marcin, can lift 22 kilos more than that. Well, we've already had success from brothers here last evening in the 94 kilo class, Martyrossian, and earlier in the championships, the 69 kilo class, the younger Martyrossian. Now, Jörg Mazur, 5 kilo increase, this to go into the gold medal position in this opening test. Your assessment?
Just cut it a bit short, really. I think he can do that, actually. Just slightly short.
Well, he's got a little bit of time with Frank Mantek to try and make that correction. And there you can see 190, that belongs to Dmitry Beresford. 180 on the top there, that's the Lithuanian. Vyšniauskas Martin Tesovic also 180 as his opener, but this is Bialek on 178. And obviously this would be for the lead. But being on 105, that raises a question that we get from time to time, David, which is you've got 2 hours in which to make the weight, basically. So if you did read the scales wrong or guess it wrong, which you shouldn't do because there's plenty around, but if you found yourself an hour before at over 105 and you had to make the weight category, you've got 2 hours in which to do it effectively. Not a nice situation to be in. So Mazur, Frank Mantek, the head coach, himself a bronze medalist in the Moscow Olympic Games of 1980 and has coached German squads to more than 100 major medal successes. And maybe it'll be that one day for this man, but 2 failures out of 3, and it leaves him down in 4th place on 173, which is actually 7 kilos below his best. So I think there'll be disappointment in the German camp there. Tesovic from Trencin in Slovakia, a couple of hours drive up the motorway from the capital, Bratislava, getting ready, but Dowenga just indicating to the jury his unnatural elbow, if that's the right way to describe it, so that it isn't a press out. So you have a look at this, Dave, and see what you think. 179 on the bar.
Oh, come on, hold it. Oh, did all the work. Yeah, he's got one elbow that doesn't quite lock as much as the other one, isn't he? Well, that was close, but not close enough. So he stays on 177.
At the moment he's in the lead, but Tesovic, Vyšnauskas and Berestov to start their campaigns, and Vyšnauskas it will be to come out next with the bar at 180 kilos. That's the weight that Tesovic wanted as well. Well, Vyšnauskas is quite a character, David. He's usually quite animated on the stage. Yeah, but the fact is, he has a very low percentage of good lifts. Yeah, 2 out of 6 at the World Championships last October. 2 out of 6 when he got the bronze medal in the Europeans 2 seasons ago.
It just reminds me of the pub lounge. I always expect him to come on stage and start talking to the audience.
I often wonder, you know, if he did manage to put a whole sequence of lifts together, just how good he could be. He's been a bronze medalist in this weight category on 2 occasions. 180. Decent start.
He's a character.
He is a character, but, you know, it's good to have him. But I just really, you know, if you could put 3 good snatches there, you know, the confidence will build, and you just don't know. We've never really seen the best of this man. So, Tesovic, defending European champion, same weight. Been plagued through his career with back problems, and in fact he won his first title as a world champion back in 1997 when the World Championships were in Thailand, but that was in the then 99 kilo class. And I do remember, David, that last season's European Championships, the 105 kilo class, take nothing away from him, but it wasn't the toughest examination. This, I think, might be, you know, with the likes of Beresford around, might be much harder for him to defend his title, and certainly missing out on the first attempt doesn't help his cause in any manner. One of 4 brothers. Trenčín, very much a sports centre for the Slovakians. Big army sports base up there as well. A lot of prowling around. So nobody else wants 180. Remember, Beresford is waiting for 190. So just makes it harder for Tesovic. And if he wants to stay in the game, really have a chance of defending his title, there is now absolutely no margin of error. Has to get this.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, he came unstuck in the World Championships last season in the clean and jerk when he had 3 attempts at 221 and got none of them. But now he's got a big decision to make, David, because 180 with Beresford on 190. Just looking at the sort of, I mean, at his very best, I mean, he snatched 190 in the Worlds, 187 is the sort of weight that he can regularly do, but he's got to be intelligent about the amount of kilos that he puts on the bar. What would you think? 186?
185, I would think.
He's going to go for 186.
Yes, he's not with the clean and jerk. He has this problem of the bar being too close to the windpipe and blacking out. That's one of his problems.
Bar going to 185 for apparently Vyšniauskas of Lithuania. Coached by his father, Bronius. But if there was an award for expressive weightlifters, then he'd be right up there. But that's good to see. I mean, he shows quite a lot of emotion, and I just really like to see him put this sequence together. I'd like to see him get this, David, because 187.5 is what he did in the Olympic Games. 190 is his personal best. If he was to get this 185, you could go into that sort of territory, and he doesn't do it very often, so fingers crossed. "15 seconds. Come on. Oh.
No lift.
Just didn't pull it quite far enough, did it?
Yeah, I think you can do that, though.
Yeah. Now what I hope is that that doesn't get into his mind, and you know, he blows the third one and then he's left on 180. Now Tesovic has gone up, which means Vyšniauskas has to follow himself, which is not particularly nice. So can't quite see where Tesovic has gone to now. Has he gone? He's definitely gone up.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he's gone up to. Let's have a little look, see if we can... 186, David. You were right. So there's the man just prowling around. He won't be coming in until the bar goes to 190.
Tesovic. Russia second in the medal table in terms of gold medals. 6 golds, 12 silver, 4 bronze. Numerically, they're the most successful nation. Lithuania yet to get themselves onto the medal table. So he's got bags of time, over 45 seconds. We're both confident that he's got the strength, but he's got to get the timing, the precision, and he's got to be mentally absolutely clear about what he's doing. Come on, come on, come on! Excellent.
It's great.
But he's got 3 lifts to go in the clean and jerk, and assuming that he's going to get one of those, that's certainly going to be heading in a better direction in terms of percentages.
Yeah, I seem to remember on a couple of occasions he's actually torn his hands quite badly on the snatch phase of the lift. But he's definitely on fire today.
Tesovic, 186.
Capable of it. Just needs to hang on in the first phase. No. Carbon copy of the initial 180 that he missed. He needed to do what he did on that second lift, really.
Yeah, and that's not good news, David, because he's left on 180. He's got 1 out of 3. Wisniewski has got 2 out of 3, and he's in the gold medal position. And now better stuff with 3 straight lifts, 3 straight attempts, and Wisniewski can't be worse than silver. Tesovic absolutely assured of the bronze, on the basis that the Olympic champion is going to pick this up and not only take the snatch gold, but also start to build a commanding lead. So this for a 5 kilo advantage. Oh.
Didn't look heavy, just rushed it a bit, didn't he?
Yeah, I was going to say, hurry.
Completely focused on that one.
Yeah, he just hurried. Almost, dare I suggest that he was taking it for granted a bit?
He didn't seem completely sort of walked on, grabbed it and went, didn't he?
Yeah.
Just left it out in front a little bit.
So maybe just needs to...
The weight doesn't look heavy at all. I mean, it looks light.
Just needs to perhaps have a little bit more respect for the bar. Well, that'll be a partial relief to Wisniewski and Tesovic, because if he'd gone 190 and then maybe gone, well, 195, perfectly in his compass, and he could have been gone, and they left everybody as they watched him disappear on the horizon. As it is, so here he comes, second time of asking. Not using by any means the full 2 minutes available to him. Now he just needs to steady here.
Yeah, he just slow it down a bit. Tight, tight, tight. And now finish. Oh, wow.
Don't believe this.
Doesn't seem to be getting his starting position right. Doesn't seem to be getting low enough. It doesn't seem switched on to it. It seems kind of, I don't know.
Well, David Riggott on the right there, just behind him. If anybody can sort him out, it'll be David. But, I mean, he's now put himself under extreme pressure. And whatever happens, David, he can't get away by more than 5 kilos over Wisniewski. And well, as far as Tesovic is concerned, the damage is limited to 10. Tesovic. It's been a growing characteristic, hasn't it, in the heavier categories as we've gone down the week, particularly in the men's division, the number of failures. Not so much in the women's categories, but certainly in the men's. But can't believe that we're going to see another big name. So, the Olympic champion on the edge of extinction in this competition, but champions rise to the occasion, and Berestov has done just that. 190, third attempt, takes the gold medal and takes a 5 kilo advantage over Wisnauskas of Lithuania, who has the silver, and Martin Tesovic of Slovakia, who has the bronze. So Lithuania and Slovakia onto the medal table, which means now that 18 European nations will be going home with medals. But that wasn't exactly what we expected, David.
Well, he hasn't run away with it, has he? That's the point.
Well, there it is. Only 1 out of 3, but Berestov leads nonetheless. Wisnauskas 2 out of 3. He's 5 kilos off the pace. Tesovic only 1 out of 3. And then Dowenga, the older of the two Dowenga brothers, ahead of his Polish teammate Bielek. And Bunyamin Sudas of Turkey joins the ranks of the Turkish lifters who have utterly failed here this week.